Shabbat Shalom, family. Glory and honor and praise to the Father, Yah, the creator of heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is. And the God and Father of the Messiah, Yahweh, who will return soon to claim the kingdom given to him by Father Yah. Glory and honor to their names. Glory and honor and greetings to the 12 tribes of Israel scattered to the four corners of the earth, because of disobedience to the Heavenly Father's commandments, and who are now awakening and returning from the worship of other gods to the only true God, Yahweh. Greetings. And to the 144,000 who are among them, who are the forerunners of the return of Messiah and the call to his people to come out of Babylon. Greetings. And to the precious Gentiles from the children of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, that are not of the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but yet are redeemed through the blood of the Messiah and the perfect righteousness of the Father. Greetings. Greetings to the chat. Akawan Banya, Yafi. What's up, my brothers? And only one way, my brother Walter. Brother Walter, Brother Lion of Judah, Brother Lonnie, Sister Joyce. Psalm 119, greetings, Brother Gary Joseph, my brother, Castle King, my brother, Stephen King, my brother Superstar, Sports Fan Pronto, Tommy Going, my brother, Naviska 23 and his beautiful family, and Wade, Isha Shama, and her husband, Frankie. I hope you're feeling better. Greetings. Thomas Dunstan, GD, all of you, greetings to all. We are continuing our study in Genesis. And today, let me see. I got the quiz. We had the quiz. Remember the quiz? We had the quiz. We're gonna go over the quiz tonight. Gonna go over the quiz. I did not bring my calculator with me, but I have it right here. We're gonna talk about the quiz, if you recall. How old was Noah when he got off the ark? Bible tells us that. How many years did he live? And to what? How old was Noah at the time of Abraham's existence? We're going to talk about when Abraham or Abram was born. And it was Noah alive when Abram was born. We're going to talk about that. These are some interesting things that we'll go over. Now, as we get started here, what we're going to see today in chapter 11 is more clearly what the Father told Adam and Eve after sin. And let's go to that in Genesis chapter 3. Genesis chapter 3. Now, the Bible talks about, as we know, as we've read, the serpent. And the word serpent is the same word in the New Testament for dragon. So and we're going to look at both of them. When the Bible talks about dragon in the New Testament, it's the exact same word as serpent here in the Old. So the dragon is the serpent. Okay. And here we have read Genesis chapter 3. And we're going to look at Genesis chapter 3. I'm going to start at verse. Let's see. I'm going to start at verse. Let's see. I'm going to start at verse 10. Actually, I'm going to start at verse 9, and I'm going to go from verse 9 to verse 15. Genesis chapter 3, from verse 9 to verse 15. Genesis chapter 3, from verse 9 to verse 15. And Yahweh Most High called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told thee that thou wast naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat? And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And Yahweh Most High said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And Yahweh Most High said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Now, when you look at this as it reads here, you see the woman is Eve, and you see the serpent as the devil or the dragon. The dragon can't have children. So when he said thy seed and her seed, he's dealing with what the woman represents. And let's take a look at that in Jeremiah. First, let's go to Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 6. Jeremiah chapter 6. And we're going to go get a couple of witnesses here, but Jeremiah chapter 6, beginning at verse 2. Jeremiah chapter 6, beginning at verse 2. I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman. I've likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman. So the Most High is using the woman as a representative, as a representation of Zion. Okay, let's get another witness to that. Let's get another couple of witnesses to that. Let's go to Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 36. Actually, chapter 37. Isaiah chapter 37. This is when Sennacherib threatened Judah, and Hezekiah prayed to the Most High and then sent to Isaiah the prophet to inquire the Most High, and Isaiah sends him this message. This is Isaiah chapter 37, verse 21 and 22. Then Isaiah the son of Amos sent unto Hezekiah, saying, Thus saith Yahweh Most High of Israel, whereas thou hast prayed to me against Sennacherib, king of Assyria, this is the word which Yahweh hath spoken concerning him. The virgin daughter of Zion hath despised thee and laughed thee to scorn. The daughter of Jerusalem hath shaken her head at thee. So you can see again that Zion, or the chosen people, are likened unto a woman. And again, we know there's a very well-known one here, a third witness from the Apostle Paul in Ephesians chapter 5. Ephesians chapter 5. Ephesians chapter 5. Let's begin in Ephesians chapter 5. I'm going to begin at 23. Actually, I'm going to begin at 22. Ephesians chapter 5 from verse 22, and I'm going to go down to verse 32. Ephesians chapter 5 from verse 22 to verse 32, the woman as Zion. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto Yahweh. For the husband is head of the wife, even as Messiah is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Messiah, so let wives be to their own husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives, even as Messiah also loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word, that he might present it to himself, a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. For no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourished it and cherished it, even as Messiah the church. For we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. For this cause shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. This is a great mystery, but I speak concerning Messiah and the church. So Messiah is represented as the husband of Zion, and Zion is represented as his wife, and they become one flesh, which means they become oneness, the church or the nation of Israel, oneness with Messiah. Praise the Most High. So again, in these areas, we see that a woman is representing the chosen people, the chosen nation of Zion. And as a matter of fact, what we're going to see today as we study Genesis chapter 11 is post-flood chosen people, the chosen lineage continuing post-flood. That's what we're going to see here. So let's go to Revelation chapter 12, and let's compare the two women that are main characters of the book of Revelation, the two women that are the main characters of the book of Revelation. And we'll see the two seeds here. Revelation chapter 12. Revelation chapter 12. Let's go from verse 1. From verse 1 down to verse 6. Yep, from verse 1 down to verse 6. And then we'll go to verse 17. This is the seed of the chosen people. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried in birth and pain to be delivered. There appeared another wonder in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon or serpent, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and having 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto Yah and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of Yah, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. Let's skip down to verse 17. And the dragon or the serpent was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Yahweh and have the testimony of Messiah Yahushua, or the witness of Messiah Yahushua. Now, again, just for our clarity, went to make war with the seed of the woman. Remember what the Most High told Eve and Adam. I'm going to put enmity between thy seed, the dragon, and her seed, the woman, this is the woman, Zion. I'm going to put enmity between Zion and the dragon. And then here at the end, he went to make war with the remnant of her seed, what's left. And the sign of them is that they are keeping Yah's commandment or his covenant, and they receive the testimony or the witness of Messiah. And first test question of the night, before we go into the ones I gave you before. What, brethren, is the witness of Messiah? Now, if you're in SDA church, they tell you it was Ellen White, but that's not what the Bible teaches us. What is the witness of Messiah? What is the witness of Messiah? Now, I'm going to tell you one thing. It is the gospel. So you got to know what the gospel is to know. That's right. Thank you, Castle King. It is the righteousness of the Father. That is the witness of Messiah. That is the witness of Messiah. Let me give you the scriptures. First scripture y'all should know. First scripture y'all should know already, because it's the gospel. And this is Romans chapter 1 in verse 16 and 17. I am not ashamed of the gospel of Messiah. That is the witness, the message of Messiah. That is the gospel. The Christians will tell you it's good news. It's more than that. It's a message. It's the message of Messiah. What is the message? Because Messiah say, repent and believe the gospel. Believe the message. What message? He's a messenger of the Father. What message? The gospel of Messiah. I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Messiah, for it, that is the gospel of Messiah, the message, is the power of Yah, his Father, unto salvation, to all that believe, to the Jew first, and also to the Greek. For therein, that is, in the message of Messiah, his witness, is the righteousness of Yah revealed. So the Messiah's witness is Father's righteousness. Now, Paul's whole ministry to the Gentiles was this message of the Father's righteousness. In fact, let's look at another one of Paul's witnesses. We got the same witness, still the same witness, right? But actually, what we're reading right here in Revelation chapter 12, verse 17, that's a second witness. But let's go look at Paul, and let's look at the second one. It's really the same witness. We know this is the same witness, right? But let's go to Galatians chapter 3. This is one of my favorite ones right here, because if you read this carefully, it spells it out very, very easily for those that want to read it, okay? Most people don't. But let's take a look at Galatians chapter 2. Galatians chapter 2 and verse 16. Galatians chapter 2, verse 16. Knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law, but by the faith of Messiah Yahushua, the faith of Messiah Yahushua. Even when we believed in Messiah Yahushua, that we might be justified by the faith of Messiah Yahushua and not by the works of the law. For by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified. So the faith of Messiah causes us to be justified or declared innocent. What does it got to do with his witness? Philippians chapter 3. Philippians chapter 3. Remember these verses now, because I'm going to tell you something. You're not going to find them in any other version of the Bible but the King James. Isn't that something? That's one of the reasons I look at these as like codes, right? So when somebody brings me and I've had people do it, look at this version, brother. Look at this version. This is better than the King James. I'm looking for the code verses, the code that tells me what the perfect righteousness is, what is the faith of Messiah. And all the Bibles except the King James have gotten rid of it. Isn't that amazing? So let's take a look at Philippians chapter 3. We're talking about the faith of Messiah that causes us to be declared innocent. Okay, take a look here. This is Philippians chapter 3. I'm going to begin at verse 9. In fact, that's all we need is verse 9, actually. Okay, verse 9. Philippians chapter 3, verse. Actually, let me begin at verse 8. You know we need a little context, right? Let me begin at verse 7. Okay. But what things were gained to me, those I counted loss for Messiah. Yea, doubtless, and I count all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Messiah, Yahushua, my master, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Messiah, and be found in him, watch carefully, not having my own righteousness, which is of the law, but that which is through the faith of Messiah, the righteousness which is of Yah by faith. So Messiah's faith is Father's righteousness. Messiah's witness, his message, is Father's righteousness being revealed. Father's righteousness were revealed in the life of Messiah, in the message of Messiah, and by the Spirit given through Messiah of the Father. So in the last days, the remnant of the woman will be obedient to the commandments by the faith of Messiah. That is the testimony of Messiah. Well, let's get some Old Testament witness, right? Because I don't want people to think that Paul is the only one that preached this. There's a lot of Old Testament witness. First, I was just reading one the other day. Look at Psalms. Let's look at Psalms. Psalms Let's see. Oh, yes. Psalms 5. Psalms 5. Oh, yes. There's a lot in the Psalms, okay? But Psalms 5, I want you to notice what it says. There's a lot of witnesses, okay? Psalms 5. I'm going to begin. I'm going to begin at verse 4. Context. Verse 4, and I'm going to go to verse 8. This is Psalms 5 from verse 4 to verse 8. Psalms 5 from verse 4 to verse 8. Watch. For thou art not a most high that hath pleasure in wickedness, neither shall evil dwell with thee. The foolish shall not stand in thy sight. Thou hatest all workers of iniquity. Thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing. Leasing is falsehood. Yahweh will abhor the bloody and deceitful man. But as for me, I will come into thy house in the multitude of thy mercy, and in thy fear will I worship toward thy holy hill. Now watch verse 8. Lead me, O Yahweh, in thy righteousness, because of mine enemies. Make thy way straight before my face. Lead me, not in my righteousness, Father Yah. Lead me in thine righteousness. See, for in the gospel, the righteousness of the Father is revealed. Right? Praise the Most High. Wait a minute. We got a lot of more. I'm just going to give you a couple more, though. So we got Paul, we got John, we got David, a couple more. Just a couple more. Let's go for Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 36, right? It's a very easy one. Ezekiel 36. Okay, Ezekiel chapter 36. Ezekiel chapter 36. This is, I'm gonna give all three, the baptism as well as the baptism of the Spirit is hidden here in Ezekiel 36. Most people don't recognize it because you'd have to read the whole thing in context and understand that he's talking about the Hebrews, the Hebrew Israelites. But let's take a look here. Let's see, I'm going to start at verse 22, and I'm going to go down to verse 27. So this is Ezekiel chapter 36, from verse 22 to verse 27. You're going to see baptism of the Spirit and baptism of the water on Israel. Let's take a look. Therefore, say unto the house of Israel. So this message is to who? Ezekiel's being told, Ezekiel, I want you to say this to this group of people, the house of Israel. That is the Hebrew Israelites. Thus saith the Most High Yahweh, I do not this for your sakes, O house of Israel, but for my holy name's sake. Do what? Well, we're going to find out. But for my holy name's sake, which ye have profaned among the heathen, whither ye went. And I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen, which ye have profaned in the midst of them. And the heathen shall know that I am Yahweh, saith the Most High Yahweh, when I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes. For I will take you from among the heathen, that is, come out of her, my people. For I will take you from among the heathen, and gather you out of all countries, and will bring you into your own land. And I will sprinkle clean water upon you. Sounds like baptism to me. And I will sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean from all your filthiness, and from all your idols will I cleanse you. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you, and I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. Here's the baptism of the Spirit. And I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes, and you shall keep my judgments and do them. So you're getting justified by the Father, declared innocent. You're getting washed by the water, baptism. And you're getting covered by the Spirit of the Father, perfect righteousness. That's Ezekiel. Let me give you one more. I'll tell you one more. I got more now. But let me give you one more. One of my favorite ones. Castle King knows where I'm going. Castle King knows where I'm going. I bet you Castle King knows where I'm going. Don't you, Castle King? You know exactly where I'm going. Castle King knows where I'm going. Castle King, no. I'm going to Zechariah. Castle King, no. Zechariah chapter 3. Going to Zechariah chapter 3, my third witness. Zechariah. Zechariah got a whole bunch of witnesses in there, but we just going to go for this one. I love this one. Okay. Ready? That's right, Stephen Kelly. All right. Zechariah chapter 3. Let's enjoy it together. Zechariah chapter 3, and I'm going to go from verse 1 down to verse 8. Well, I'm going to go to verse 9. And he showed me Joshua, the high priest, standing before the angel of Yahweh, and Asatan standing at his right hand to resist him. Now, I love this because I've read the history. This is during the reconstruction of Jerusalem, okay, and of the temple. And Joshua was called Joshua, the son of Yasadek, which means Yahweh Shai, that is Yah exists to save, the son of Yahweh Sadak, which is Yahweh Shai, check it out, the son of Yahweh's righteousness. Come on now. So wait. And Yahweh said unto Asatan, the dragon, Yahweh rebuke thee, O Asatan. Even Yahweh that have chosen Jerusalem rebuke thee. Is not this a brand plucked out of the fire? Justification. And Yahweh Shai, or Joshua, was clothed with filthy garments and stood before the angel. And he answered and spake unto those that stood before him, saying, take away the filthy garments from him. And unto him he said, behold, I've caused thine iniquity to pass from thee, and I will clothe thee with the change of raiment. Isaiah describes it as the robe of righteousness. And I said, that is, Zechariah is sitting there watching, and he said, let them put a fair mitre upon his head. Why did he say that? Because in Exodus chapter 28, it tells you that the priest, the high priest, was supposed to have a mitre of gold on his head. And the mitre said, holiness to Yahweh. So he said, so this is the high priest. He's clothed with clean clothes now. He got perfect righteousness on him. He's represented as the priest praying on behalf of the whole nation. And he says, put a fair mitre on his head then. Okay. Holiness to Yahweh. Okay. So they set a fair mitre upon his head and clothed him with garments. And the angel of Yahweh stood by. And the angel of Yahweh protested unto Joshua, saying, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, if thou wilt walk in my ways, and if thou wilt keep my charge, thou shalt also judge my house, and thou shalt keep my courts, and I will give thee places to walk among these that stand by. See, Joshua, the high priest at the time of the rebuilding of Judah, is a representation of Yahweh Shai, the high priest, at the time of the kingdom. Praise the Most High. Hear now, O Joshua, the high priest, thou and thy fellows that sit before thee, for they are men wondered at, for behold, I will bring forth my servant, the branch. Behold, the stone that I have laid before Joshua. Upon one stone shall be 7 eyes. Behold, I will engrave the engravings thereof, saith Yahweh of hosts, and I will remove the iniquity of that land in one day. Now, that 7 eyes sounds familiar. Why does it sound so familiar? Well, let's go to Revelation now. We're just wrapping up on the side of the woman that belongs to Messiah, the woman, right? Right? Wait a minute. Revelation chapter 7. Revelation chapter 5. That's it. Revelation chapter 5. Excuse me. Revelation chapter 5, beginning at verse 1. Revelation chapter 5, beginning at verse 1. And I want to go down to verse 7. Revelation chapter 5, verses 1 to 7. The 7 eyes. Watch. And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne, Father Yah, a book written within and on the backside, sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof? And no man in heaven nor in earth, neither under the earth, was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. And I wept much, because no man was worthy to open and to read the book, neither to look thereon. And one of the elders said unto me, weep not. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the seven seals thereof. And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne, in the midst of the four beasts, in the midst of the elders, stood a lamb, as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of Yah sent forth unto all the earth. And he came and took the book out of the right hand of him that sat upon the throne. That is Zechariah chapter 3. That is also Daniel chapter 7. Brethren, y'all see the woman now, right? Well, there's 2 women in Revelation. That's the Holy One. That's the one that's us, right? That's us. That's the nation and the remnant seed of the nation. That's us. But there's another woman. There's another woman, and we all live with that woman. Yes, we do. And we were all deceived by this woman. Yes, we were. We were all deceived by this woman, and we were all followers of this woman before we were redeemed. This woman belongs to, remember there were 2 now. He said, I'm going to put enmity between thy seed and her seed. So the woman, we just went to the woman's seed. Now we're talking about the serpent's seed. Revelation chapter 17. Revelation chapter 17, verse 1 through 6. Revelation chapter 17, verse 1 through 6. Revelation 17, 1 through 6. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. By the way, as we continue reading here, when you get a chance, you want to go find this woman. And the hint is that she's decked with gold, precious stones, and pearls. You will find her in Daniel chapter 11. I'm going to let you do that research. You will find this woman in Daniel chapter 11, and it'll have the very similar language to what you just seen here. But I'm going to let you find it, okay? Daniel chapter 11, because it's better for you if you find it yourself, right? I didn't give you a lot of hints, so you can find it. All right. She was decked with gold and precious stones and pearl. And she had a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. There you are. That's the other woman. That one belongs to the dragon. That's the other one. That's the one that belongs to the dragon with the beast that she's riding. That belongs to the dragon. That's right, GD. Also Ezekiel 28. That's exactly right. Very good. Okay. See why I say GD knows? Please make sure you read this book. I want you to just bear witness. What? We just covered a lot of ground, didn't we not? Did we have to leave the pages of this King James Version to cover all that ground? Did we not get multiple witnesses for the doctrines I just told y'all about? Didn't we get multiple witnesses? See? Did we have to go to the Gospel of Thomas, or did we have to go find the Jubilees or the book of Enoch? Did we have to do that? Or was it all here? Look at that. Do we have to go find Apocrypha to find the mysteries that we just found out here? We're right here. Read this book, brethren. Start in Genesis. Read through the Revelation. Pray to your Heavenly Father. He will guide you in this book. As you saw, y'all bear witness. What we just covered, I dare say, and y'all can bear witness, there is no religious group or church that put all that together. And it's not me either. It's the Father Spirit that did that. Y'all bore witness. See that? That's what I'm saying. So it's almost like the Wizard of Oz. Yeah, it reminds me of the Wizard of Oz. They were going to find the wizard, right? The Wizard of Oz. And they were going down this long road to find the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy and her friends, right? When they get to the wizard's house, it was this big giant castle, right? And they was expecting some powerful wizard when they pulled back the curtain. And all they showed was this shrimp little dude. That was nothing. That's what all these books are. The promise of mysteries that you have never seen before. And they're nothing. And all that you need is right here. Hidden in plain sight, brother. Hidden in plain sight. And again, people will say, well, the white man, so-called white man wrote this book. Well, let me just say this. I would say it's a faithful translation because all of the major characters in the book are so-called black people. Right? I mean, you would think if they was trying to make this into a white man's book, right? Everybody be white in here. But everybody in here got melanin. And is this book translated? Really, it wasn't written by Caucasian people. It was translated by Caucasian people from Hebrew and Greek and Aramaic. But the thing is, this book showed us who we are. You think if they had an agenda, right? If they had an agenda to hide stuff from us, right? That the Most High wouldn't have been able to use the same book to show us who we are. I mean, to the letter. So that tells me right there, it's a faithful translation. Because even though Englishmen translated it, even though former Catholics translated it, it calls the Catholic Church the great whore. Why would they speak against their own church purposely? It calls the so-called slaves, Negroes, the chosen ones of Israel. This book does that. It reveals the mysteries of the return of Messiah. You think they understood? No, they didn't understand what they were writing. They just was translating what is said in Greek and Hebrew. That's all they was doing. And not only that, how did we get to the idea, the understanding of the true name of the Messiah? I'll tell you how I did it. I looked at an original King James. And I noticed a couple of weird things about it. There was a lot of weird things about the original King James. When you get a chance, look at the original King James. The original one, written in 1611. First thing I noticed is that there was no J's in it. I-E was everywhere. It's like, there's no J's in it. And then everything that in the modern English sounds like with a V was a U. And vice versa. Everything with a U was a V. So like when it said unto, it was V-N-T-O. Isn't that way? Isn't that wild? So how do we come up to understand that the Savior couldn't have been named Jesus? Well, because we looked in the original King James and it said Jesus. And then I began to do a little research and found out there was no J at the time. It wasn't even invented yet. That's right. It said David. And Jehovah said Yahweh. That's what it said. Look it up. Ain't no V in there. It's a V, but it don't sound like a V. It sounds like a U. Like David is a U and it sounds like a V. So the Spirit of the Father illuminated our minds to give us the truth. And he still brought us back to this book. Look at that, brother. Come on now. Come on now. See, if you don't believe in the Spirit, then I can't help you. I can't. But I know there is one because I have experienced it for myself. And some of y'all could bear witness. You've experienced the movement of the Spirit in your life too. Well, to be truth be told, all of y'all's children, I mean his children, are going to experience the movement of the Spirit. All of y'all's children. See that? And then the Father brought this to us, right? It's powerful too. Messiah is more, he's Messiah, right? He is the Father's only begotten Son. And he was born of Judah in the flesh. And if we are also of the 12 tribes, and the 12 tribes all come from the same man. And Messiah also, in his flesh, he comes from that man. That kind of makes Messiah related to us by blood. In fact, we came to the conclusion he's our cousin. Now, y'all know, I ain't got to explain to y'all, in our culture, even today, going through slavery and everything, cousins are like brothers. Everybody in here, y'all can testify. There's a cousin that you have in your family that's closer to you like a brother or a sister. Come on now. Y'all know, y'all can bear witness. There's cousins that you are so close with, they're like your brother or sister. Isn't that right? Right. We even say, nah, cuz, I can't do that. Why we get that? Because it's our culture. It's a culture passed down from long time. Long time. See? Praise the Most High. Yeah, brethren. There's a lots, right, that tells us who we are. And so this book, that's what I'm saying, read it. It'll take you a year, most people. Some a little more, some a little less. Take a little year to get through it. But I'm telling you, when you finish reading it, you must read it again. And every time you read it, this is my 21st year reading it. And every time I read it, I learn more. Every single time, brethren. I learn a lot more. Every time. Same words. But it's because of the Spirit. See? The Spirit is deep, brethren. It is my 21st time reading it. And I'm still learning stuff, man. Every time. I'm learning stuff. And there's a lot of more to learn. A lot of more, brethren. A lot of more to learn. A lot of more. Okay? So, yeah. Praise the Most High. You know, and look. Speaking of Brother Walter's here. He's our grafted in Hebrew brother, right? From Japhet, right? Any of y'all grew up in neighborhoods that was mostly Hebrew, right? You grew up in a Hebrew neighborhood. And I want to tell you, in almost every Hebrew neighborhood, right? There's some child of Japhet. They're usually poor and they grew up with us. Talk to me. Y'all know that, right? And what happens? Well, we give the child of Japhet a hard time at first, but then he becomes like our brother. Isn't that right? We give the child of Japhet a hard time at first, but then, you know, they just blend in like they just cousins. Y'all know that's the way it works, man. That is no accident. And so now that we know the truth, that's how brothers like Brother Walter come in, because now we know the truth. They grafted in like cousins. And like I said, when you in your neighborhood growing up, there's always one. Usually they're poor, right? I mean, we had one. We used to call him the white boy, but then he became like our brother. If somebody messed with him, we had his back, right? Always. Hey, that's the way it works. That's right. Forerunners of the kingdom. See, now that we awaken, we can look back and see all these things, and it all makes sense. You see what I'm saying? It all makes sense. You be like, oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. Wow, wow, wow. No coincidence. Look at that. Look at that. Praise the Most High. Praise the Most High. Look at that. All right. So now we got the two women. And now what you're going to see as we go to Genesis 11, you're going to see the two women. And we just saw the modern Babylon. It said mystery, right? Or in other words, it's hidden. Most people don't know what's going on, that this woman is riding this beast. See, the earth can see the beast, really, because the beast represents a government. It represents a kingdom. Well, you can see the kingdom. You know the United States, the UN. You can see that. And when you're looking, though, whenever you see the Pope show up, he's in charge. Wherever he shows up. He's come to the White House. Presidents bow to him. He's come to the UN. And he just shows up and they give him his audience because he is the woman riding the beast. Everybody can see the beast, but very people don't understand that the woman riding it because it's mystery. See? Mystery. Mystery. Babylon the Great. So Babylon has reappeared. Well, let's go back to the first time Babylon in Genesis chapter 10. Genesis chapter 10. Praise the Most High for the truth of his word, though. You see, that's what I'm saying, brother. I mean, what, man? I mean, I might live, I might die. I don't know. You know, I praise the Most High. He knows the future. I pray that I'm still here, and I pray that I'm faithful to the Most High. But you know what? If I turn out to be some roguish fool, God forbid, but if I did, this truth is still the truth. You know what I'm saying? It's still the truth. You know what I'm saying? It's still the truth. And it still is life-giving power. Okay, praise the Most High. This is just so sweet, man. The word is so sweet. I can't even express. Y'all know. Y'all can bear with me. But here, Genesis chapter 10, let's start Brother Nimrod. Let's start Brother Nimrod. Genesis chapter 10, beginning at verse 6. Genesis chapter 10, beginning at verse 6. And going from verse 6 down to verse 10. Genesis chapter 10, from verse 6 to verse 10. And the nations of Ham, Cush, and Mizraim, and Put, and Canaan. So Ham had 4 sons. Cush, Mizraim, Put, Canaan. And the sons of Cush, Seba, and Avila, and Sabda, and Ra'amah, and Sabtika. And the sons of Ra'amah, Sheba, and Dedan. The Bible seems there's been a few Shebas and Dedans. The Bible always points them out too. One day I don't know for now all of the implications of Sheba and Dedan, but we will. But anyway, verse 8. And Cush begot Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before Yahweh. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before Yahweh, the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. So you see Nimrod, and you see he is the first person mentioned in the Bible that had his own kingdom. So he was a king. He was the first one mentioned that had a kingdom, and he was so revered, they say he was before Yahweh. So in other words, he was an object of worship. An object of worship that is the controller and founder of Babylon. Babylon means confusion. Okay, it's confusion. Now, I will tell you, there's a saying, abdo archaeo. It's Latin. It means order out of chaos. What does that mean? Why do I mention that? In modern Babylon, they purposely create confusion. And then they bring their order out of it. They purposely create confusion. They purposely bring forth multiple religions, multiple leaders, false ones. They bring forth banks and craziness and all kinds of delusions. They do that to confuse people. This is one of the techniques of hypnotism. They bring confusion, and then they become the order out of the confusion. And therefore, you trust them. Okay? Now, let's go to Genesis chapter 11. Genesis chapter 11, right? It's in the dollar bill. It's in that too. That's right. But they go abdo a order. That's abdo means order out of chaos. They do that. Okay? The whole earth does that in every area. That's why you see so much craziness going on all over the earth. I'm not even talking about the natural disasters, which we do see. I'm just talking about in terms of people, craziness, right? People killing their kids and people doing crazy things in politics and in religion. And it's wild, right? It's going crazy, right? Purposely done. Every time there's a political coup attempt, Babylon is behind it. Every time there's a revolution, Babylon's behind that. Every time. There is no revolution especially without influence from the Jesuit order. They may not directly put their hands on there, but believe me, they're behind the scenes, leading the people that are. And we've seen many political coups and revolutions by dictators that's been set up by certain governments, set up by certain third-party governments to create confusion. And out of the confusion, there's a takeover. A takeover usually of the assets of the country that had the political coup. You've seen this a lot. You've seen it in Nicaragua, Panama, Colombia, right? You've seen it in all those countries. You've seen it in Haiti. You've seen it in multiple countries in Africa, right? Purposely done. Create confusion, take over, bring the order out of the confusion. Oh, wait, it's purposely done. I mean, I could Panama, Nicaragua, Colombia, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Nigeria, Iran, Iraq, all these places. Purposely done. Haiti, all these places, man. Purposely done. Okay? Purposely done. Okay? It's how they do things. Only for a couple of nations to have the power. And of course, they're working for the beast. Genesis chapter 11. All started here, though, brethren. Genesis chapter 11, beginning at verse 1. Genesis chapter 11. Let's go from verse 1 to verse 4. Genesis chapter 11, from verse 1 to verse 4. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. The whole earth was of one language and of one speech. When they came off the ark, the whole earth was of one language and one speech. Why? Because before the flood, the whole earth was of one language and one speech. Okay? Now, the Most High's chosen people had a language, his chosen ones. And that is the language that the Father chose for them. And today, let me tell you something. Nobody knows the language. I'm talking about Hebrew. Nobody knows it. People have an idea. We all have an idea. Even like they speak a form of it, let's say in the state of Israel, they speak a form of Hebrew. And they think that's the original language. Nobody knows it. The chosen ones are going to know it. When we get to the kingdom, we're going to have that language again. The real language. That's right. Everybody has a version of it because the Ashkenazi Jews just have a version that they combine with the Germanic languages, and their main Germanic language. You ever heard this? Yiddish. That's the language that they really speak. and they've combined a form of Hebrew around Yiddish. That's not Yah's chosen. Okay? And the majority of the planet Earth speaks something of a language that comes out of Europe. English, Spanish, those are all from Germanic languages, yo. I was looking up every once in a while. I'll go on YouTube and I look up different places I want to learn about. So today I looked up Namibia. Namibia is on the west coast of Africa. Namibia. And do you know what other language they speak? German. I knew that Germans came into, like Argentina, but apparently they made their takeover also in Namibia. They got streets and towns and everything in the language of German. See? So there's a language that we will have from the original language that was given to Adam. Nobody knows it right now. It's like what the Bible say, we're looking through a glass darkly. See, when we look at Hebrew, we're looking through a glass darkly. We're getting part of it, but not all of it. That's why I say I'm not worried about, what people call Messiah. In my spirit is Yahweh Shah. We'll find out what his new name is when we get to the kingdom. Because the Bible says he's going to get a new name. And guess what? All of us going to get new names. And each one of us, check this out. No two people will have the same name. No two people in the kingdom will have the same name. Man. So Messiah going to have a new name, and all of us going to have new names, and we're going to learn the Bible tells us. In fact, let me show you. Let me not, let me not just tell you. Let me show you Zephaniah. Obscure little prophet, powerful though. We did a whole series on Zephaniah. Called it a stick of dynamite, man. That's what Zephaniah is. When you get a chance, you want to read that one. Zephaniah. It's a little book, but look at Zephaniah chapter 3. Zephaniah chapter 3. Watch this, brethren. Watch this. I'm going to read from verse 8. I'm going to read from verse 8. Well, I'm going to read from verse 8 to 12. Well, watch the whole thing about the language now. From verse 8 to 12. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith Yahweh, until the day that I rise to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them my indignation, like Revelation 14 says. Even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. For jealousy, what's he jealous of? People trying to make other gods into the Most High. Then will I turn to the people, what does it say here? A pure language, that they may all call upon the name of Yahweh to serve him with one consent. See? So we're going to have a pure language, which means if he says, I'm going to return you a pure language, the implication is the language that we're using now is not pure. Because he's going to return a pure language. For then I will turn to the people a pure language. Verse 10, from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, or Cush, my suppliants, even the daughter of my disperse shall bring mine offering. Praise the Most High. Notice he said Cush. Beyond. Cush. Y'all caught that? For in that day thou shalt not be ashamed for all thy doings wherein thou hast transgressed against me. For then I will take away out of the midst of thee them that rejoice in thy pride. Thou shalt no more be haughty because of my holy mountain. I will also leave in the midst of thee an afflicted and poor people, and they shall trust in the name of Yahweh. See, all the afflicted and poor people of the earth, he's remembering us. It said, sports fan pronto, that was verse 10, I think it was. Let me just go back there. I think it was verse 10. He said, I'm going to get my dispersed that went from the beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. In other words, most of his people that he's going to gather came through Africa. Did you? Let me show you this. This Zephaniah chapter 3. My apologies. I might have went too fast on that one. Yeah, Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 10. From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, now translated, Ethiopia is Cush. My suppliants, even the daughter of my dispersed, remember, Israel is a daughter, shall bring mine offering. Yes, praise the Most High. There you go. There you go. Woo, here you go, brethren. All right. So now they were one language and one speech. This is early. Okay. Genesis chapter 11 from verse 1 to 4. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. Genesis chapter 11, 1 to 4. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar and dwelt there. Now, wait a minute. Land of Shinar. Whose kingdom was that? Whose kingdom was that? In the beginning of his kingdom was Babel and Erech and Calneh in the land of Shinar. That's Nimrod. That's right. So they went and then now they're focused on Nimrod's kingdom was the world capital at that time. Nimrod's kingdom was the world capital. Okay, there you go. All right. Verse 3, and they said one to another, go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone and slime for mortar. And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. So they said, let us have one name, one world government under Nimrod, who was before Yahweh. One world religion under a man, under men. One name, one world government, one world religion under the power of a man. You see that? Wait a minute. Do we have a one world government now? Do we have religion and government controlled by men? Do we? We already do. You can call it Christianity if you want. You can call it Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, Judaism, especially those three, the three so-called Abrahamic religions. These are all man-made religions, and they rule the earth. And they're headed by Christianity, which is with Rome. I would say, as I mentioned Daniel 11 to you, said they divided the land for gain. One world, are we already here, brethren? They not, we don't even have to imagine what it will be like, brethren, because it's already here. This is not future. This is now. This is right now. The United Nations represents a one world government. It is headed by the Pope of Rome. It is in the United States. And as they did in ancient times, they have a G10. They have G20 also. They have G7, but they have a G10. Pay attention to that one. Okay. Yes, indeed. Okay. See, brethren, this is where it all started, right here. Genesis chapter 11. It's where it all started. Okay. Verse 5. Absolutely. Verse 5. And Yahweh came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. See, it's a man-made religion, man-made government. They were going to defy the Most High. Let us build a tower up to heaven. We're going to defy the Most High. Okay. Yahweh said, verse 6, Genesis chapter 11, verse 6, and Yahweh said, behold, the people is one, and they have one language. And this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Go to, Let us go down and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So Yahweh scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. And therefore, verse 9, the name of it called Babel, therefore is the name of it called Babel, because Yahweh did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did Yahweh scatter them abroad from the face of all the earth. Now, they have countered Yahweh. They have countered him. See, he confounded the language. What did they do? They made symbols. You know, like hand signals. They got, y'all know the hand signals. They got all kind of hand signals. And they got all kind of pyramids and eyes in the pyramid and names like that have stuff like illuminate or sun, you know, right? So they decided to use secret signals and they hide stuff in plain sight, but that is the powers of man can understand each other. They make all kinds of hand signals. You'll know what I'm talking about, like the Illuminati, the Order of Scottish Rite of Freemasons, these type of things. They make signals. And they can communicate, even though they have different languages, they can communicate through the symbols. You understand? So they tried to counter the Most High. He confused the language. Oh, we're going to fix that. We're going to make symbols. And that's what they did. But their symbols are not going to help them. It's not going to help them. Okay. Father confused the language, and it took them, 4,000 years to create these symbols and try to come out. And all he did was this one thing. They ain't seen nothing yet. Okay. They ain't seen nothing yet. But that was that. So now that was the seed of the serpent. What we just saw was the seed of the serpent. That was the dragon seed. Okay. And of course, they exist, as the Bible showed us in Revelation, all the way to this day. And all the kings of the earth and all the governments and all the religions are under that banner. Like I said, you can call it whatever name you want. Islam, Ashkenazi Judaism, Christianity, you can call it Buddhism, you can call it Hinduism, you can call it Taoism, you can call it animism. Whatever religion you want to name is based in man, which is the basis of Asatan's, one of his doctrines. Man can become God. That's right. Churchianity, Campianity, whatever you want to call it. That's what you have. Okay. Okay. So now that was the seed of the dragon. Now we're going to see the seed of the woman, and this is where our exercise comes in. Okay, so I'm going to read through this now with what we've seen. Let's go back for a second. Let's go back for a minute, and let's look at Genesis chapter 9 real quick from verse 28 and 29, because to set the stage for the post-flood chosen people, the seed of the woman post-flood. So here starts with Noah, right? So here Noah, verse 28 and 29 of Genesis chapter 10. And Noah lived after the flood 350 years. And all the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died. Okay, so Noah was 600 years old when he entered the ark. So after that, he lived another 350 years. Y'all got that part? So he was 950 when he died. So he was 350 after the flood. All his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, were 100 years old when they got inside the ark. Okay, these are important numbers. They were each 100 years old when they went in the ark. Shem, Ham, Japheth. They were all 100 triplets, right? And then he was 600. Okay, now also he put a special blessing on Shem. As we know, let's take a look in Genesis chapter 9 again. This time, let's go to verse 25. He put a special blessing on Shem. And he said, "Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren, and blessed be Yahweh Most High of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant." That just means it's not just Canaan, the people, it's Canaan and his land. the land would serve Shem because Shem would take over the land. Then later we know Yafet would try to take over from Shem and still use Canaan's land. Well, let me ask you, is that what's happening today? Yes, that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. Okay. Now, Shem. So Shem is the chosen seed. Okay. So now, Genesis chapter 11, and I'm going to have to write this down. I don't have my phone next to me, so I can't just calculate it. We're going to calculate how old was Noah when Abraham was born. Y'all ready? All right. First thing you got to remember is the numbers we already made. So Noah was 600 when he came inside the ark. His 3 sons were 100 years old apiece. So Shem was 100 when he went inside the ark. Watch this now. Genesis chapter 11, verse 10. Genesis chapter 11, verse 10. These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old. We know that. Watch the rest of the verse. He and begot Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. So write down the number 2. Shem had Arphaxad when he was 102. So 2 years after the flood, he begot Arphaxad. Y'all got that part? So write down the number 2. That's the first one right there. Okay. Now, verse 11, Shem lived after he begot Arphaxad 500 years and begot sons and daughters. That's not important for what we're looking at. Watch verse 12. Ready? Verse 12. Genesis chapter 11, verse 12. And Arphaxad lived 530 years and begot Salah. So now write down 35. Arphaxad was 35 years old when he begot Salah. So Shem was 102 when he begot Arphaxad. Arphaxad was 35 when he begot Salah. Y'all got that so far? So now you write down 35. Okay, and then it's going to go verse 13. Arphaxad lived after he begot Salah 403 years, begot sons and daughters. But now go to verse 14. It's really every other verse you want to look at, really. So it's verse 14. Salah lived 30 years and begot Eber, which is Hebrew. So Salah was 30, so you write down the number 30. So far you got 2, 35, and 30. Okay, so now we're dealing with 67 years after the flood. All right. Now, Eber, from where we get Hebrew. Salah lived after he begot Eber. I don't want to miss any verses, so I'm going to read it. 403 years and begot sons and daughters. Okay, verse 16. And Eber lived 430 years and begot Peleg, 34. Now, you know Eber had 2 sons, Joktan and Peleg, but we're talking about Peleg because that is where we're talking about the seed of the woman. It wasn't Joktan, it was Peleg. Okay? Eber lived after he begot Peleg 430 years and begot sons and daughters. Verse 18. Peleg lived 30 years. Write down 30. So far we got 2, 35, 30, 34, 30. And begot Reu. Peleg lived there, he begot Reu 209 years and begot sons and daughters. And Reu lived 230 years and begot Sarah. Okay, 32. 32. Okay, so you write down 32. Don't worry, we're going to add it up. You can add it up as we're going, but we're not finished yet. We got to go all the way to Abraham now, so just keep writing. Okay, so now, verse 21, Reu lived after he begot Sarah 207 years, begot sons and daughters. Okay, verse 22. And Sarah lived 30 years and begot Nahor. Write down 30. Okay, write down 30. And Sarah lived after he begot Nahor 200 years and begot sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 9 and 20 years and begot Terah. So you write down 29. Okay, 29. So we got 2, 35, 30, 34, 30, 32, 30, 29. Verse 25. And Nahor lived after he begot Terah 119 years and begot sons and daughters. Verse 26. And Terah lived 70 years. So he waited a long time to have children. Terah lived 70 years and begot Abram. So Abraham was born after how many years? What you got there? What you got there, sports fan? Which sports fan got 271? Is that everybody got? Let me see. 37 plus 30, 67 plus 34, 101 plus 30, 131 plus 32, 163 plus 30, 193 plus 29. You're talking about what? 9, 29, 2. You're talking about 222. And then what? I got 292. 292. So at this point, 292 years passed from the flood. 292 years. Now, Noah was 600 years old when the flood came. Okay? Noah would have been 602 when our Arphaxad was born. Y'all following me so far? Noah would have been 602 when his grandson Arphaxad was born. Wait, no. Don't go ahead, Castle King. You're going to get confused. Noah would have been 602 when his grandson Arphaxad was born 2 years after the flood. Correct? Y'all got me so far? I want to make sure. Don't follow me now. Don't get ahead now. Follow me. Okay? He would have been 602 when Arphaxad was born. Okay. Since he would have lived now 348 years, right? Because he lived 350 after the flood, but he had lived 2 years before Arphaxad was born. So now he's 602. He lived to be 950. That would mean 348 more years. Y'all got me? So Noah would have lived 348 more years after the flood, after Arphaxad. Y'all follow me so far? So he lived 340. So now y'all got already 292. So subtract 292 from 348. Subtract. What do you get? I'm not going to tell you what I got till you tell me what you get. 56. That's right. So Noah would be alive 56 more years after the birth of Abraham. So Abraham was 56 years old when Noah died. You follow me? So Abraham was 56 years old when Noah died. Okay, so Noah was alive all the way to when Abraham was 56 years old. Okay, you follow that? No. Noah lived to be 9. Oh, you asked me how old Noah was. Okay, Noah lived to be 950. That's right. So he would have been alive. So 56 years from the end of his life, from 950 takes you where? So you subtract 56 from 950, what you get? 896? Wouldn't it be 896, Castle King? He had 56 more years to live from 950 minus 56. So he would have been 4. That's right. He would have been 894. That's right. So he was 894 years old. So Noah was 894 years old when Abraham was born. And he lived 56 more years. So Noah was alive when Abraham was born. And Abraham probably knew Noah because that was his, that was the original man from after the flood, right? He's the patriarch. Yeah, I didn't know you was talking. I thought you meant there was 892 more years or 894 more years. I didn't understand your answer, Castle King. But what I was looking for was 292. It was 292 years after the flood when Abraham was born. Okay. And Noah was 894 years old at that time. If you notice, all of the people between Noah and Abraham were dying much sooner. There were some of them not even living to be 200 or 300 years old. Noah was there 894 years. So So he saw a lot, right? All right, well, wait a minute. We're not done yet. We got some more. So now, wait a minute. Let's start at verse 26 where we left off. You ready? Verse 26. Genesis chapter 11, verse 26. Now, Terah lived 70 years. He was 70 years old, and Terah had triplets, Abram, Nahor, and Haran. So Terah was 70 years old. That's right, because nobody got to 1,000. But we're going to get to 1,000, right? We're going to get to 1,000, right? The first 1,000 years of the king. We're going to get to 1,000. Praise the Most High. But none of Adam's children, all the way up to now, never got to 1,000. That's right. So now, that's right. Terah had triplets just like Noah did. Terah had triplets, Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Okay, so Terah had triplets. Okay, wait a minute. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran begot Lot. So he had triplets. The oldest one was Abram, and that was the chosen seed. Just like Noah, the oldest one was Shem, and that was the chosen seed. Interesting, isn't it? All right. Verse 28. Now the youngest brother, Haran, died. Verse 28. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity in Ur of the Chaldees. So they were apparently born in Ur of the Chaldees. Ur means light. They thought themselves to be light in Chaldees. Okay, verse 29. And Abram and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, the father of Iscah. But Sarai, verse 30, was barren. She had no children. Now, verse 31. This is where it gets really interesting, brother. You ready? Verse 31. Genesis chapter 11, verse 31. Let's go on this journey. Ready? Be a little bit longer tonight, but this is interesting, isn't it? So here you go. Verse 31. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran, his son's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees into the land of Canaan, and they came unto Haran and dwelt there. So they were on their way to Canaan. Okay, they were on their way to Canaan. Now, verse 32. Watch this. Verse 32. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. So wait. So Terah was 70 years old when Abram was born, and he lived to be 205. Right? Y'all got me so far? So Terah was 70 years old when he begot Abram, and Terah lived a total of 205 years. So how many years did Terah live after he had begotten Abram, who became Abraham? How many years did Terah live after he begot Abram? That's right, 135. Very good. That's right, 135. Very good. He begot. So Terah lived 135 years after he had Abram. Now, why is this important? How old was Abram when he left Ur the Chaldees, when he left Haran? How old was Abram? Well, chapter 13. We're going to skip down because we're going to come back and read it all tomorrow. But let's go to chapter 13, verse 4. Chapter 13, verse 4. Okay? I'm sorry, chapter 12. I'm sorry, I said chapter 13. I'm sorry. Chapter 12. Genesis chapter 12. We're going to just read verse 4. How old was Abram when he left Haran to go to the land of Canaan that his father had started going to but never got there? And Abram departed as Yahweh had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. So he was 75. Verse 4 of Genesis chapter 12, 75 years old. So Abram was 75 when he left. So Abram's father, Terah, was still alive when Abram left, because his father lived another 135 years, And Abraham was 75 when he left. So his father still had another 60 years to live before he died. So Abraham left his father and his father's house when his father still was not dead yet. His father was actually 130 years old, right? Something like that. No, wait. Yeah, his father was like 135 years old, and he had some time to live when Abraham left his father. So when Abraham left, his father was still alive. Yeah, his father was still alive when he left. So that's what I'm just saying. So when Terah was still 140, I think it was 145 years old. He died another 60 years later. So he was 145 years old when Abraham left to go to Canaan. Okay, Abraham left with Lot, Haran's son Lot, and they went on their way to Canaan. So Abraham was leaving his father's house, as the father Yah was telling him to do. Leave your father's house and go to the land of Canaan. And Abraham, now we know, praise the Most High, Junior. So Abraham, as we know, was the patriarch of what became the children of Israel. He was the patriarch. Some people went too far and said Abraham was the founder of Judaism. Abraham didn't create no religion. You never see anything here about Abraham creating no religion. The father talked to him and said, go to the land of Canaan. And why? Because Noah said, Canaan's going to be Shem's servant. Abraham represented Shem in the Hebrews. He was a Hebrew, and he was going to the land of Canaan, promised to Shem. Okay? There was no religion. You never seen him find any religion. That's what Judaism means, Judah, right? Well, when did Abraham create a religion called Judah when Judah wasn't even born yet? It's amazing, isn't it? When you think about these things. So Judaism come from Judah, Yahudah, and they're saying Abraham was the founder of that religion, and there was no religion here that Abraham founded. He said, well, we're going to see, but he wasn't saying, I'm going to make you the founder of a religion. He said, I'm going to make you a founder of a nation. And Judah would have been, let's see, his son was Isaac. Isaac's son was Jacob. So Jacob is Abraham's grandson. His great-grandson would have been Judah. Wasn't even thought about, but he founded this religion called Judaism. You see how foolish that is? Now, somebody, if you told that to one of them, right, what they want to tell you? Well, you got to read the Talmud, or you got to read the lost book to get this information. Yeah, okay. No, we don't have to read the lost book. Abraham didn't create no religion. Abraham was the founder of a nation that the Father Yah gave him. And the Father Yah gave the nation the name. Praise the Most High. Exactly, Stephen Kelly. Exactly. So praise the Most High. So tomorrow we'll come back. We found out that when Abraham was born, Noah was still alive, and he was 894 years old. We found out that when Abraham was told to leave, his father was still 145 years old and still has 60 years yet to live. We found all that out from Genesis chapter 11. We found out where Babylon came from. Genesis chapter 11. We found out it was Nimrod's kingdom. Look at that. And we found out why Abraham was told to go to Canaan. Praise the Most High. Found all that out just from this book. Praise the Most High. Found all that out about our relatives. About our bloodline relatives. Praise the Most High. Praise the Most High. And we're going to find out a lot more. As we keep reading, we're going to find out a lot more, brethren. We're going to find a lot more. Praise the Most High. So tomorrow we'll come back and continue about 11:30, I guess. Come back, continue. And then we'll learn some more. Genesis chapter 12. Praise the Most High. May the Most High bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom, family. Enjoy your evening. Be safe. Shalom.